So good to be here once again. And so today we'll be looking at how to avoid the mistake of location. You've had this before when it comes to property purchase: location, 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 location. So I'm going to be broadening it up now. So you want to buy a piece of property, how do I avoid the mistake of location? So why is it that some property appreciate while some locations do not appreciate? Why is it that some places are raining and some places are not really raining? Okay, so that's what we are going to be looking at today. And so my name still remains Opoluwole. So follow me on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, and reach out to me on +234 8075343090. Okay, so I started a journey on mistakes to avoid when buying a piece of property in Nigeria. I mean, some of the things I'll be sharing, even though my stories and examples are usually Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Owerri, and some of the other places, Ogun State. Some of the other places have done transactions in the past, but based on my experiences and some of the people that I've mentored and subscribed to some of my courses, I realized that a whole lot of these things are the same. It's still the same Nigeria, it's still the same spirit that is in us, and a lot of people experience most of the time the same set of mistakes. So location is one of the most important factors in real estate investment in Nigeria. Location is very important. Okay, but sometimes there are factors that make some of these locations very important, and if you miss it from those factors, it's always going to be a very difficult thing. In fact, you might not be able to redeem the real amount you bought some of this property. In fact, I remember that I was watching a video, somebody was talking about this same subject, and he said that why is it that he bought a property for I think he bought the property for, so he bought the property for, I think, 500,000 naira, and because there was an emergency he sold the same property for like 300,000 naira, and it was like 2 years. Say, that place is not appreciate. No, there are factors. So those are some of the things we're going to be looking at to do. So, okay, so the effect of strategic location in buying is massive in Nigerian real estate, and it also affects the rate of return. It also affects the rate of return of for that property that you bought, likely because of the underdevelopment nature of most places in Nigeria. Most places are really underdeveloped in Nigeria. So where land should have increased, but there are no development in some of those places. So I remember we bought a property, and from our plan, the place will be selling for like 10x the price most people bought it from. But as I'm talking to you, probably twice the price. And the main reason was that at some point the road that leads to that very particular property collapsed, and the state government of that particular location just decided not to visit infrastructure, and it was a terrible journey. It was something else. It was like a complete disaster. So these are some of the factors that affect the mistake of location. Okay, so you can buy a place, proximity to city development, good location, but the government can decide that, see, I'm not bringing infrastructure to this area. And if infrastructure is removed from real estate, you know there is nothing. Somebody said, remove infrastructure from real estate, there is nothing real again. It's just an estate that cannot be assessed. Okay, so what are the basic factors that can help you consider buying a particular location? So I'm going to run through them. Okay, number one is accessibility. So can that place be accessed? Can you drive to the front of that land? Okay, I always tell people that distance is not a barrier, but accessibility is more important than distance. Distance is not a barrier. Accessibility is more important than distance. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is proximity to amenities. Now the place is accessible, but what are the amenities that are within that place that has been accessible? So it will determine whether you are holding the place for a long-term purchase or is a place that people can start living. Amenities is very important. Okay, I remember one time again, somebody reached out to us. They wanted to buy a particular place, and that place strictly land banking, 15 years. In fact, the place is almost 10 years now, and nothing much has reached. I said minimum 15 years you hold this place, right? And the person, no, he wanted a place to buy school. So the realtor that showed, of course, realtors want to make sales. But I know, don't worry, build, people will call, blah, 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 and all of those things. And I told the guy, I said, see, guy, we have another location that is close to that place. That one has the possibility of 10 years if you build a school there. But this other place is minimum of 15 years, so before development will start coming to the place. And the guy yielded. Even though he yielded, he accepted, but still bought that place. And down the line, he came to appreciate me that he didn't invest all his money in that place, but he never regretted investing in that place in the first place. Okay, so number 3 is potential of future development. So it does not have a development right now, but what are the things that are coming to the place? I remember when it was announced that there was going to be a free trade zone in the Bejuleki. It was during the time of Governor Fashola that the groundwork really started and all of those. Of course, I think it was announced earlier, but it was during the groundwork of governor was on ground when the groundwork started. So a lot of people trooping to that area just by the announcement. Not of course, nothing physically has been done. I mean, I remember the first time I visited the houses were like 10 years plus now. Nothing really. People were practically begging us to come and buy their property there. But look at that location today. Now, a piece of land that you're going to get in that location is nothing less than 20 million, 30 million, and all of those things. And that's like what will buy you 10 acres some 10 years ago. Okay, so that's that. Then economic growth. So what is the economic growth potential of that axis? So look at the free trade zone, for instance. So the future already tells you the place might not have the economic status right now, but the future status of that economy is very, 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 very bright. Okay, urban expansion. So this is different from migration, right? So for instance, now there are city centers. So to places like Berger. So what gives life to a place like Isheri, Wawa, Arepo, I mean, for those that knows Lagos will understand what I'm talking about, is the fact that all these places are close proximity to Alausa. So expansion of the Ikeja district is what gave those places life. At some point, people exhausted land in Ikeja. Okay, land usually takes 3 processes, right? First and foremost is land banking. Then after land banking, people start building, right? Then the third is urban regeneration. Those are the basic. There are more than that, but those are 3 basic processes that land usually go through. So places like Ikeja, at some point too, people did land banking in Ikeja, agriculture, and all of those things, right? So from there, it moves to people started building in Ikeja. Oh yeah, come and buy, come and buy, come and buy. Later on, from people started building in Ikeja, then now move to urban regeneration. So some of the old buildings people have built, demolish, you have put rising and all of that. So expansion of urban because of the demand. So there's always what? An expansion. Then the other thing is that is this area that has a rural urban migration, right? So anywhere you want to invest into, you need to consider. So this location, is there a rural urban migration that is moving towards that area? So that you not go and put your money in a place that there is no rural urban migration. It's even a place people are living. That's where you want to go. I remember my mentor usually says something. Said any business you want to enter, ask who are the people running away from the business. So instead of you starting this, why not buy the business of the people that are running away if you think you can do it, right? It's just a smart thing. So designated zoning area too. For you have that. I mean, Lagos State has a master plan. You can just lay hold on it. So there's a master plan, and each area in Lagos has been, some are designated as industrial, some are designated as residential, some are designated as mixed-use development. So what do you want to buy that land for? So why not pitch your tent where other industries will be, so that when the amenities that pertain to your industry show up, you will equally be part of the people that will enjoy it. So I hope it's making sense. So just click on that subscribe button, like, share. So let's move. The next thing is infrastructure, especially transport infrastructure of anything within that axis. See, what gives Ikeja the life that it has today is, I mean, I was telling is the airport. That's the main international airport. I mean, one of the busiest airports in the whole of Africa. Okay, that is what gives Ikeja the life it has today. I was telling someone that I was just doing an analysis of Lekki and Ikeja and all of those things. I said, until the airport for the island gets to the island, so forget it. Ikeja has a, we were discussing about shortly. I said, see, forget it in Ikeja. It has a killer strategy, right? I mean, for an average plane that lands carry almost 200 people now. Most of those 200 people are maybe Nigerians returning that don't want to go back to their home, hotels, and all of those things. Do you know how many planes that land even at every night that are coming from Europe and all of those things? That's not where we are here. So I'm just giving you transport hub, schools, and major infrastructure and future infrastructure. So they are very, very important. Okay, and natural features. So soil, topography. These are some of the things that helps you to determine your location. So you pick pieces of some of these things. Lack of them and availability of them is very, very important. So that's why I'm just trying to explain some of these things. And so then lastly in this section is buzz of the moment. Don't buy where people are not selling. If you buy where people are not selling, that means you have invested your cash on a long term. So don't expect miracle to happen, especially if you are buying so that you can flip, right? So don't expect one miracle to just happen all of a sudden. Okay, so that's very, very important. So sometimes following the buzz of the moment is important in this business. Okay, so land is the carrier of value in real estate. Land is the carrier of value in real estate. So the cost of, okay, for instance, now a piece of land, let me explain this now. Okay, you know, most of our Igbo brothers always want to build in their village, right? And most of those property, probably they visit the place 2-3 times a year and also no use eventually. And but some of them do not realize that, yes, the sentimental, because in this part of the world, real estate is emotional. And we need to always recognize that we are emotionally attached to our real estate, and it's much more emotional for our Eastern brothers and all of those things. I'm not of course, this happened to Ijebu people too. Of recent, we were in Ijebu day and we flew a drone, and the guy was like, in the midst of all these bushes, look at mansions that people built. I mean, these are guys that are multi-billionaire, but they must have a house. Some of them call it a country home and all of those things. But most of those places do not earn cash for them. Of course, some of them are too rich that they don't even need some of those residual income and all of that. But this is my point. My point is this. From foundation hub minus the value of land, it is the same cost of constructing a typical apartment everywhere in this part of the country. So let me explain what I mean. So if you buy a wet land, probably you do a raft or a pile foundation. So the cost of foundation will change. And so, but from foundation up till you finish that building is the same thing. If you buy a dry land that you are just going to do a strip foundation and maybe some strip foundation basically. And let's say the white land usually are even more expensive sometimes. You buy it for 100,000 or 100 million naira. And you did a pile foundation, you did to the you finish up the foundation with another 100 million. That's 200 million naira, and you build a 200 million naira house on it. And somebody else with a dry land strip foundation, and maybe the foundation cost him just 20 million naira, and the land maybe cost him 10 million naira. So cost of foundation and land is 30 million. Your own cost of foundation and land is 200 million, right? But the land that is more expensive for a particular reason, and which we are going to be looking at very, very shortly. So it's also the resale value of that property. So also the rental value of that property. So you need to understand that the value is actually in the land. Okay, so you can replicate what is on the foundation upward of the foundation, basically anywhere within Nigeria, right? So I might not be able to go into details of that because of the confine of time that we have. We don't always want our YouTube video to be too long because people would often don't want to watch. Okay, so 60 to 70% of your future value of any piece of real estate is determined by location. 60 to 70% of the future value of your real estate is determined by location. That is heavy. So this is a major core cost, right, when it comes to purchase of property. Okay, so in as much as location is important, but the economic factors and factor is also very, very important. So location is very important, but let me explain this point with this. The proximity of Makoko to the island is very, very, in fact, you can fly a drone on the island and you'll be seeing all these locations. But do they command the same value? No, they do not. Even though they have all the indices that is supposed to make them expensive, but they do not have the people that will make it very expensive. That will maybe not seem expensive, that will give it value. Let me use the word value, right? So the economic status of the people that live there is very, very important. So what's different from Makoko and Banana Island? One was properly sandfield and the rich came in, but one was not properly sandfield and the poor stayed there. So that is very, very important. So the quality of people living in an area is very, very key. Is very, very key. So who are the quality of people? So we are going to be looking at some of the reasons why these are key factors too shortly, right? Sometimes the quality of people determine the resale and the rental value. Banana Island, Ikoyi, VI are basically riding on all of these things, nothing more, right? For instance, now, the economic status of the whole of Nigeria, the economics was in Ikoyi. Ikoyi was the whole secretariat. Lagos Island, Ikoyi was the whole secretariat. So it gives value to Ikoyi and it still enjoys the same value till now, right? So those are some of the key things that are very, very important when determining your location, because there's some level of fun that you have. It is just Ikoyi that you should go and stay. There's no point coming to Maryland. There's some level of money that you have and it is just Maryland that you stay, right? So it's very, very important. So a city today is a potential city tomorrow. A city today is a potential city tomorrow. In fact, anywhere that is within 30 to 60 minutes drive from a current city center is a potential city. Anywhere. I mean, this we've proved for like 12 years plus of my 12 years plus in real estate now. I've literally seen places where were populated by monkeys and are populated by human beings. Okay, so that is very, very important. From wherever you are, that is a city right now, anywhere you can drive between 30 minutes to 60 minutes are usually not habitable most of the time, right? But there are potential cities. So in case you're asking the question, so what area should I buy? Where is going to blow next? Yeah. So I've given you the clue already. I remember I was doing a presentation in one of our projects in Ekpe one time, and I said, see, there are few places in Lagos that you can get expanse of land, right? So Ekpe is one of them, Ikorodu is one of them, Badagry is one of them. Of course, Ibeju-Lekki is still one of them, but let's just say Ekpe, Ibeju-Lekki corridor. So these are places. So, and what gives this place value, apart from the fact that land is available there, are because they are still within 30 minutes to 60 minutes drive of an established city. Okay, so that being said, let's just look at these 8 things. Okay, 8 things that that determines access to city development. Number 1, the economic status. Economic status is very, very important. People that are looking for a particular location will look at what are the economic status of the people that are staying in this particular location. I remember there was a time I was staying in one funny area like that, and I traveled often, and most of the time, by the time I travel and I come back, I realized that my car would have been vandalized. So, and those were signals to me that my presence was no longer welcome in that area, right? And I didn't get the signal on time. So these are very, very important. So, okay, number 2 is school, because most of the people that want to settle down in a particular location, one of the things they will look at is school. So when you are, of course, you don't want a situation. I remember the friend of mine bought a property, and I realized that the closest school to them is almost 30 minutes drive. So he has to take his children to boarding house. And he now started the school in that area. Okay, so you don't want to make that mistake. It's very, very important. Safety and security. See, Lagos, Nigeria. This one is number 1 on the list. That's why you see A lot of people use escort and all of those things, and which gave birth to number 4, gated community and with infrastructure. So gated community as a result of security, infrastructure, common infrastructure, play area, waste bin management, water system, and all of those things are very, very important in determining your location of choice. Okay, the next is healthcare. Is it close to healthcare center? Very, very important. Recreation. I want to raise children, so they need to play, they need to have fun. Is it close to any recreation? Very, very important. And for those that are smart too, there are a lot of places in this part of the world that does not have all these things and people are already living there. Why not go there and plant such there? Okay, the next is job opportunity. Job opportunities. Look at the Lekki Aja corridor to Ibeju-Lekki and Epe corridor has not even started to peak at all. It has not started to peak at all because a lot of job opportunity, the refinery has kicked off. A lot of lifting is going to happen there, and a whole lot of stuff. Free trade zone is less than 50% occupied. The Lekki port is just starting to function. So a whole lot of things are going to start happening in that area. And number 8 is government and public service presence. Government and public service presence is also very, very, very important. Okay. So, putting all this together, you might need to watch this video like 2 or 3 times because I shrinked. This video is supposed to be a whole book in itself. So I shrinked a whole lot of stuff together so I can drive home the message. So you might need to watch it 2nd time, 3rd time, 4th time to get the message. Okay. So thank you for staying tuned. My name still remains Ope Oluwaoni. Do me a favor, share, like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you. Great.